Good evening, everybody. Welcome back for another edition of What is in the Box, or What's in the Box. And tonight I have for you a closer look at the 1/35th scale Tamiya Panzerjaeger Jagdtiger, Fruhe Produktion. That would mean early production. Sonderkraftfahrzeug 186. This kit is from 2008, so it is not that new, but it is also not that old. But it's a nice kit. The vehicle, of course, should not be unfamiliar to anyone who knows anything about World War II, specifically late war history. This would apply, of course, to something like the Fall of the Reich group build, the Panzermeister 36. Although I'm not going to be building this kit for that. I have something else in mind. But this is a nice kit, and in typical Tamiya fashion, it is a simplistic build. Not a lot of parts, but the detail is quite excellent. I think you will agree when we take a closer look. But a few words about the actual vehicle. So this thing was pretty rare. Only 88 were manufactured. And Hitler wanted to mount, this is another one of the Wunderwaffe, the things that were supposed to help end the war, help bring, change the tide of the war in their favor, was equipped with the massive 12.8 centimeter Pak 44. And it was a spectacular gun, really derived from the anti-aircraft gun, also 12.8 centimeter, of course with different sighting equipment and slightly different ammunition. It could knock out pretty much any Allied vehicle, including any of the heavy Russian tanks. It did have some interesting limitations somewhat. The ammunition that this gun fired was two-part. In other words, the projectile and the powder charge were two separate components. And this provided a somewhat logistic problem to the designers. So it actually had to have two loaders. So this vehicle had a crew of 6. So you had a loader for the projectile, and then a loader for the propellant charge. And of course you had the gunner, radio operator, driver, and commander. Otto Carius, the famed German tank commander, high-scoring tank ace, actually commanded a small platoon of these, the 512th Panzerjaeger Abteilung, in this toward the end of the war. There were 2 versions of this vehicle built. One of them with the Tiger II Henschel suspension, and it's referred to typically as the Henschel variant. And then there was a 9 road wheel, weird-looking Porsche variant where the road wheels were in pairs. It was much rarer. My understanding, I could be incorrect, please if I am, someone let me know, is that the Porsche variant was the only one to actually see some Zimmerit. These did serve in combat. There was one incident where a group of these engaged some U.S. Shermans and a column of vehicles and knocked out, roughly 10 or so Allied vehicles. However, the majority of these tanks suffered mechanical breakdowns or ran out of fuel. Of course, you understand the great demand for resources, the ever-shrinking supply of resources for the German army and the military toward the end of the war. That's understandable. It did have an anti-aircraft machine gun mounted on the back of the vehicle. Many of these, of course, were actually knocked out by aircraft. So, I do want to point out the absolutely stunning box art. It is beautiful. And it's a rather large box. This is a big box. This is longer than the Dragon, big thick Dragon box. It's not as thick, but item number 35295. Beautiful box art. As the 2008, year of copyright introduction. Couple of 3 photographs of the completed model here on the side. So nice. But let's take a look at what we have on the interior. Ta-da! No surprises here. And we have Tamiya rubber band style tracks. Now these are not the vinyl tracks of old. This is a polyethylene track. These are actually, will work with modeling cement. They're supposed to. That's what Tamiya claims anyways. They are, the detail on these is really not that bad. In fact, Let me zoom in And what do you think? You know, for rubber style tracks, the cleats are nicely defined. Really pretty good looking. So that's the tracks. Let me back out a little bit. Some more. We have the instruction sheet, a color and marking guide, or painting and marking guide. Let's see, what do we want to do first? Do we want to look at the sprues? No. Let's look at the paperwork. I beg your patience for just a moment as I gather all this stuff up. Set the sprues aside. This is really nice. I have a thick, more than 32 pound, maybe 40 pound paper with photographs of the vehicle. Says the 40th anniversary of the military miniature series in 1/35th scale down here in the bottom right. Now this photograph, I know this vehicle well. This was the Jagdtiger that was at the Aberdeen Proving Ground, the U.S. Army Ordnance Museum in Maryland. It has since been moved to Georgia. My understanding, it's at another U.S. Army facility. The gun is actually stuck in the recoil position, and there are hits all over this vehicle. If you can see there's a hit right here on the gun mantlet. You can see that. And there are hits on the front glasses plate. The armor in this thing was just amazing. It was 250 millimeters on the superstructure front, and then 150 millimeters on the glasses front. It weighed 71 tons, I think. That would be metric tons. So, real brief history of this Jagdtiger number 331, and there's some talks about it briefly. Some really nice detail photos. Handy for the modeler. Really pretty nice how they did that. Thank you, Tamiya, for doing that. So I'm going kind of backwards with the paperwork. The next is a painting and marking guide. And how many options do we have? They're basically, wow, there's quite a few vehicles. The markings are going to be very simple. I think it's, what we're talking about here is a Balkenkreuz or two vehicle numbers. And it looks like all of these vehicles are in an ambush camo scheme. And I think, don't quote me on that, but I believe the Jagdtiger was one of the few that would have been correctly painted hard edge, because I think they left the factory that way. I could be wrong. You have to let me know. But so really nice fold out, trifold painting and marking guide. And some information also here about the fighting compartment. There's a picture of the breech on the main gun and paint call-outs for the figures. Nicely done, Tamiya. So, let's take a look at the instructions. This is no surprise. Once again, fold out Tamiya instruction sheet, although it is in typical Tamiya fashion, first rate, well illustrated, and large illustrations. And as with all armor builds, it begins with the construction of the hull, and then the suspension, running gear, tracks. That all looks very nice. And as an option in this kit, I guess I wasn't aware of this, the vinyl tracks are not the only option. It also has link and length. That's nice. That's a nice addition. Two-piece gun barrel, yuck. Has a pretty nice looking gun breech. You guys can see that. I don't know if there's too much glare from the light. The gun breech assembly is going to be pretty detailed. Of course, we know sometimes we wonder why they do that, since you're not really going to see it. There are a total of 24 steps to complete this kit, and it really looks pretty simple, actually. I don't think this will be difficult at all. I'm not going to go through each step. I think it's a typical armored fighting vehicle instructions. So that's enough look at the instructions. There's a correction here in French. I guess you have to be French to worry about the correction. Legal sheet, Typical information, don't eat your model, don't make love to your model, don't liquefy your model and shoot it intravenously. Very basic decal sheet, no surprises here. And a nice little photo etch fret. This is probably the same photo etch fret that would be used on the King Tiger. Maybe not. Oh, this specifically says Jagdtiger. The detail, though, is really pretty good. Zoom in, let you guys take a look at this photo etch fret. There it is. You have the spider web, anti-aircraft machine gun sights. They give you a spare. Of course, the engine grills. They look pretty thin, though, so you're going to have to be careful when you're trying to apply these. And enough of this crud. We're 10 minutes into the video, and you guys haven't seen any plastic yet. Let's take a look at the plastic. So let's start with the tub, the hull. Bagged separately, you'll notice no motorization holes, but there is some really nice rivet detail to these access hatches on the bottom of the vehicle. Some nice suspension detail, really nicely done by them. Let's zoom in, I'll let you take a look. See, pretty good. I think it stacks up pretty close to what Dragon offers in terms of level of detail. Dragon, of course, is going to offer a lot more goodies. This is another one of those kits that, look at that. This is another one of those kits that if I, go to your local hobby town here in the U.S. and I want to buy that kit, it's going to be $70, maybe even $80. And I bought this kit once again. I buy a lot of stuff from TokyoHobby off of eBay, and they have great prices. And I typically get stuff from them in 2 weeks or less, all the way to Texas. I can't complain. I didn't pay anywhere near that. I think I paid right at or just under $50, including shipping, for this kit. So, enough of that. So here's the running gear, exhausts. Nicely done. You see the bolt and rivet detail on the steel-rimmed road wheels. You guys can make that out, I think, okay. What do you think? Check out the exhaust, the little fine detail. Oops, there we go. The little exhaust flapper. Looks pretty good in that scale. The idler, nicely done. You can see that. Of course, I think we'd expect Tamiya to make a nice kit. Aha! I missed this earlier. Here we have the link tracks. Superbly detailed. So I like the fact that they give you the choice of being able to use either version. Of course, a good modeler is more than likely going to want to use the link track so that you can appropriately model the sag. These are big tracks. Detail on these is quite good, as you can see. So, there's the track section. Now, the next sprue, this is side skirts, mantlet, fenders. The fenders are really, pretty thin. Usually plastic fenders are kind of cheesy, but these are, I don't know if you can make these out or not. You know what, I'm going to take this sprue out of the bag because you really should see this. So, here are the fenders, here. You'll notice they are really pretty thin. They're a little thick, but they're really close to being in scale. Where'd they go? Oops. They're really close to being in scale. So I'm talking about these right here. There's some really nice that's beautiful. Rolled steel texture display, or texture on the gun mantlet. You can make that out. Should probably zoom in so I can use the light. Check out the rolled steel texture on that. Very impressive to me. Yeah? Rear plate also has roll texture on it. Nice looking hatches. Look at the bolt and rivet detail on the top of this superstructure, this fighting compartment plate. Look at that. Also superb. Just wanted to share that. Tow cables are, can do without them. Of course, you got to use them. They came with a kit. I may or may not buy aftermarket for that. Next sprue, we have the gun, and boy, it's a big gun. a really, really large gun. A very, very large gun. And it's 2 pieces. Yuck. The gun is mounted to a part of the fighting compartment. It looks like they did mold some of the fighting compartment. I don't really understand that because look at this nice anti-skid texture. That's where the gun would mount. And there's even casting marks. This is nice. Really casting numbers on this mantlet here with a nice rolled steel texture. They did a nice job. This is a really nicely detailed model. You know, it should be, considering what it cost. Not crazy about the gun barrel. I've got a lion mark barrel here. That's supposed to be for the Tamiya, this barrel here. But I'm not sure how that's gonna mount, looking at the way it may have to fit inside one of these others. It's got nice rifle detail on the inside of it. I have the barrel. I may see if anybody makes another barrel, because I don't have to butcher that barrel. I may be able to get the seam off that. I'm not sure. The figures, you know, for Tamiya figures, don't look terrible. The face looks a little cartoonish. You can see that. The detail, though, on the uniforms is not bad. So this is the sprue containing everything for the gun. And last, we have the top hull. I mean, this is a big vehicle. A really big vehicle. I'm going to go ahead and open this so we can take a look at it. Zoom out a little. Here it is. There's the hull. And guys, they've done a nice job. It really has. There is pockmarked rolled steel texture. That's really unique in this hull. In fact, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can check this out. I don't know if you can see the light is good enough for you guys to see that. There it is. Look at that. See the little dots all over that? That's all surface texture detail from the rolled steel. They did a really nice job with that. There's some weld beads on this thing as well. This thing is just going to soak up a wash, I tell you what. They even did it on the front glasses plate. I don't know if you can make that out or not. Yeah, see that? See the little divots, so to speak? That's from the imperfections in the, you know, the rolled steel plate. Look at the detail on the back where the engine grills go. They did a really nice job. Well, you know, it's a new Tamiya kit, so that's to be expected. Well, I've gone a little longer than I wanted to, but I certainly appreciate, once again, everybody tuning in and supporting my channel. I hope you enjoyed this review. I do recommend the kit. Don't pay $80 for it. Don't buy it at your local hobby store. If you want to buy one of these kits, please look for it online on eBay or Lucky Model. Do not pay that for it. If you paid that much for it, the Dragon kit, I'll be honest with you, is a better deal. But if you can buy this for $40 or $50 and you're looking for a simple build, this is definitely the one to go with. Have a good night, guys. Talk to you later.